Hello and welcome to this Jeff Turner training video. In this video, I'm going to describe operating systems, what they are and the important work that they carry out. In order to do this, I'm going to use an analogy. We all live somewhere. It could be a town, it could be a city, it could be a small village. But wherever we live, there are houses, flats, offices, maybe factories. There are routes to get from one place to another. They could be pathways, they could be roads, they could be rail networks. And one thing is common to all of these types of environment. There will be a council that manages the supervision of that space. All councils have a mayor. The mayor is effectively the one who will decide primarily what happens, where it happens, when it happens, and how it happens. It is then up to the various departments in the council to make it happen. I'm going to use the mayor as the central processing unit, the CPU. All of your devices, whether they be a smartphone, a laptop, a tablet, will have a central processing unit. That CPU determines which processors get to work at any particular point in time and what resources will be allocated to them. But like councils, the councils manage the space that you live in. So there will be refuse collection, there will be green space management that will look after parks and grass areas. There will also be other departments that look after building controls or transport controls. So we have an operating system making decisions, allocating resources, and keeping your town or your device running smoothly. With parks and open spaces, this is where things can take place by the population. Think of your parks or open spaces in your village as memory, random access memory, or RAM. Now let's imagine that you want to hold a barbecue in your garden. You can decide to do that, but if you're a program, the mayor will say, okay, you can hold it in your garden. But if there was a bigger operation, for example, a big business meeting somewhere, then the mayor would effectively say, hold this in either a park or some other public space. The CPU in your device will determine which areas of memory need to be used by processors. And if we think about it, imagine you now have 200 people gathered in a field in a park. You can't suddenly add more people. So once you have people in space, that space has been reserved for those people, and no new people can be put into that space until the original people move out. And that's exactly how random access memory works in your device. The CPU will grant some access memory to a program. The program will use that memory in order to manage the data, and then once the program has completed its work and terminates, that space can be used by another program. But how do we get data into or out of our village? Well, in our village we could have roads, we could also have rail networks. And the important thing to realize here is our rail networks connect our village to other more remote villages. If we think of those as other devices, we have input from other devices into ours, or output from our device out to the other devices. And those devices could be things like printers, CDs, memory sticks, maybe even a Wi-Fi control, and the internet, which is the worldwide network. All of our connections from our device going out to these devices or coming in from those devices will be handled on our input-output flow. And the CPU will be in charge of managing that on behalf of our programs. Now, there are some things to remember about operating systems. Within the operating system, as would happen with a council, if there's going to be an event, there will have to be a record of that event, and that will be written down somewhere. So think about your device. Every program you start, every little application, every task you undertake, a record is being kept inside your operating system of all of your active processes. And then when a process finishes its work and ceases to be active, it will be marked down as closed. It's good practice to turn off your device periodically. That could be daily, weekly, or monthly. Why is that? Well, imagine somebody sat in an office in your council offices responsible for keeping these records. Imagine that is a continuous sheet of paper getting longer and longer and longer. Now, if they need to track back and check to see has that process finished, the longer that record list is, the longer it's going to take them to find it. By turning off your device, you're effectively saying, okay, let's start with a brand new sheet of paper. So that will keep your device working a little bit faster. The golden rule, therefore, is if you're not using it, close it. All devices have an operating system. For computers, the most common are Microsoft Windows, and if you have an Apple, it's probably macOS. Some people who are tech geeks might also be using an operating system called Linux, which is commonly made available for free. On tablets, there are two operating systems. One is called Android, the other is for Apple iPads, and it's called Apple iPad OS. And for smartphones, Android also works on smartphones, and if you have an Apple phone, it will be using Apple iOS. Now notice the letters OS appear in 3 of the names here. They are just the first letters of the words operating system. Regardless of the operating system, you should try to apply some good housekeeping. You should always keep your device's operating system, or OS, up to date. The operating system will commonly inform you that updates are available. If it informs you that updates are available for your operating system, then you should apply them. So wait for the information to tell you that an update is available, then update. The update should be fairly straightforward. You will need to be connected to the internet to download the update onto your device. Keeping your device up to date makes it safer and will also help it work more effectively. That's all I'm going to say about operating systems for now. So thanks for watching, and do come back for more training videos in the future.